Zach and Tasha, no more.
No more. The most, maybe the most beautiful Bachelorette of all time,
Ooh, I
back on
think
the
I said it.
market.
I think I said it on episode 0. Like, if I'd known Tasha was gonna be on that season, I would have applied. And I did apply for Katie's season.
Right.
Um, but maybe I'll have to try to like slide that resume back into, the
Tasha
Bachelorette.
2.0 might be coming, buddy.
Ooh, if it's Tasha 2.0, like I say this not to sound like a horn dog, but she is by far one of the most attractive women I've ever seen on TV.
Everybody I've ever talked to, including
Yeah,
my partner,
yeah,
every male or female I've seen or I've talked to, completely agrees. So it's
yeah.
not like it's
She's
like a fact,
stunning.
you know.
Yeah, she's
So
stunning.
yeah.
And then I actually just had a third thought because when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, geez, might have to reapply for the show. I was like, well, I did apply for Katie's season. And then I was thinking, they kind of casted Katie's season around the same time as Michelle's, right?
Right.
Would
Yes,
think.
because I think so.
And if I'd maybe been picked for Michelle's season, I could have been friends with Rodney.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I mean, I like to think that we're friends with him anyway.
I think
Like,
we're friends with him too,
all we
but I
do is
actually
sing
should
his
have had a chance to
praises.
meet him. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's our crush. Like every week, man, I don't think I can love that guy more than every week I do.
It's wonderful. It's
He's
wonderful.
the best. But
Cool.
yeah, that's kind of the Bachelor Nation recap that we haven't done for a while because there hasn't really been any news. I mean, maybe some like D-listers and Bachelor Nation got new
Nothing. Yeah, nothing
girlfriends,
of
but who cares?
consequence, really.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's jump into the episode, though, eh?
yeah, absolutely.
So the intro part of the episode, the dudes kind of talking. You're sweeping shots of rivers and fields and stuff,
All
and
the B-roll.
yep. And the dudes, I forget which of them was speaking about it, but they said that I think they were all kind of collectively talking about the fact that like, man, there was 30 of us, now there's 8, and
Yeah,
by the end of the week, there's gonna be 4. Which, does this seem like a harsher cut than in seasons past to you?
it totally does. That's something I have written down here is whoa, cutting 8 to 4. Like usually they go. It's almost like you get that 2 to 3 eliminations a week, right?
Yep.
So usually you think there'd be an episode they cut 2 and go down to 6,
Right. I
and then
completely
but
agree.
no, I don't know. Maybe it's because they got to get all this done and before Christmas, and
Right.
so like, oh geez, we can't. Nope, nope, gotta get them scissors out right now. But
Yeah. And maybe it's a little compressed to that point because they did 2 Bachelorette seasons and not
yeah,
just one in this space. But yeah, seemed like a harsh cut to me.
yeah, because that would leave hometowns, fantasy suites, and then the final episode in the next 3 weeks, which brings you like a week before Christmas. So I don't even know if we're gonna get an after the final rose or a
Men tell all.
men tell all. But kind of hope we do.
We definitely will. It's just a matter of
Really?
how they might do like a multi-night, like per
Oh
week.
yeah.
I bet like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then tomorrow the men
Oh
tell
yeah.
all kind of thing. I could see
That's
that
fair.
happening for sure. But
Or I could even see. Well, actually no, because they've got. I was gonna say maybe like a half and half episode, but I actually don't think they could really fit that
no,
in.
probably
No.
not. Probably not. But
They did that with Claire the one time. Like they did like a half and half episode, but
yeah, hers
I
was
think
a
right before they introduced Tasha, I think it was.
yeah, hers was an oddity for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so episode kind of starts out and we see Michelle with some of her students, which was I thought was actually kind of cool. I think when the first student episode happened when they were still down in California, we were like, is that her students? And then of course it wasn't, but we got some of her
Yeah.
students. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got Jaylene, Kelsey, Luke, and Ahmed. And they all seem like really lovely little kids too. I
Totally.
was a little bit bummed that we didn't get Mia back because she was a star
Oh
that
man,
like episode 1
I don't think they could
or
handle
2.
Mia again. You know.
Yeah, and but it's a bummer that she wasn't maybe one of her real students and was like a producer kid, or maybe they even put out a casting call for Clary
Sassy
girlfriend.
young ladies. Yes.
Yeah, but I was kind of hoping we would have seen Mia again because I was like, oh, if she's actually one of her students, that girl's sassy. I like her. She makes good TV.
I completely agree.
So,
Completely agree.
yeah,
So yeah, like this is the first episode I think I felt like they didn't stick to formula like the last 4 or 5 episodes. It was very
no,
much like, hey, we've got less men, we need to stick to like, or we need to come up with something to fill the beginning segment because we don't have, you know, as much date and drama and other stuff going on.
Yeah, like I usually fill up 3 pages in notes, and that's usually writing pretty compact. Now my
Mm-hmm.
writing's not great, but I filled up about 2.5 with a fair bit of space, so there definitely wasn't quite as much as, you know, previous episodes. So, but
Yeah,
I thought it was adorable what they did.
absolutely. Yeah, bringing in all these kids and having them kind of run the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, our favorite Rodney's face when these kids come in is just priceless, right? You
He's the
just
best.
as soon as they walk in, it's so good. But I feel like Kelsey, the blonde girl, is the first one to kind of like pop in and ask these guys some questions, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
she kind of runs the table off the top there.
yep.
'Cause she starts talking to Nate, and she's like, "Oh, I think Nate's a good guy because he's tall and would be good at basketball." It's like
Well,
I think we said that exact thought, you know, a few episodes ago.
the man can't make a layup though.
No,
Come on.
well, give him a couple hours on the court. I'm sure he'll tighten that up.
Yep.
Michelle will run some drills with him,
Oh yeah,
and
all
you
day.
and then she says that she likes Olu because he's nice-hearted.
Yeah, it was something about like him, like a hot chocolate and a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, they
Was
just
something like that.
something. It was adorable, and
Yeah.
they just talked like, "Oh, he's such a nice guy." And it's like, yeah, Olu's a like salt of the earth, good dude.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But the best
but
part of
then
Kelsey is what?
when she talks about Martin,
Oh yes.
because she's kind of poo-pooing Martin. She's like, "Oh, this guy's trying to show off too much,"
Mm-hmm.
and
He wears too much cologne, and of
like,
course we know Martin's a club rat back home, right? Like,
yeah,
we'll talk about him later on in the
we
episode,
will.
but like, sweet Jesus, it's become more and more clear that his looks match who he is, and not
Yeah,
just his looks are an addition to who he is. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she's this Kelsey's very on point.
Yeah, it was funny because I never thought about the fact that he'd be the guy that like really, you know, the Italian shower covers himself down. But when she said it, I'm like, ah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
totally. Yeah,
without question.
yeah.
I hadn't heard the term Italian shower. That's pretty good.
Oh, you haven't? Oh,
No, no.
I grew up with some Italian guys, and they would joke about it, and it just became common for me. That's kind of funny that you've
I
never heard it.
I love that. That is
Yeah,
going in the repertoire for sure.
yeah. Well, I mean,
um,
you go back to Jersey Shore, you watch those guys before they go out to the club. They're standing there with the spray axe going
oof.
like this for like 30 seconds. I'm like,
One
no one
spray.
light a match
One
in the
spray is all you
vicinity.
need.
Yeah.
Yep.
If anyone lights a match around, you know, the situation after he does that, the whole house is going to explode. So, like,
Yep.
let's be careful.
Yep.
Uh,
And then Ahmed seems to be the next one to step up, right? And he
yeah.
asks Rodney the fun question of the fact, does he shave his nipples?
Rodney admits to being a manscaper.
I mean, I get it. If you're gonna trim your chest hair, you can't just have hairy
Yeah,
nipples and a
you
shaved
can't
chest.
go around. Yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be.
So,
I mean, I get it. We anybody that's manscaped near that area, that's the danger zone, man.
yeah. I've never actually really had to. I have 3 chest hairs. I
Ah,
didn't
well, lucky you. God,
I'm not a hairy guy, man. Like
I
I've
am.
never shaved my arms, and this is all I've got,
Well,
all
I'll
from
just I'll give a
31 years.
glimpse. This that's a glimpse.
Ooh,
It's very 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 hairy down there, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, no, Rodney, of course, super funny, super nice, and what else does he do with
He
Ahmed?
admits that he's been grounded before,
Oh, jeez, he's a bad boy.
Rodney.
Once or
So he's not
twice.
only a great guy, but he's a bad boy too, ladies.
Come on now. Oh God, I love him. And then they make a handshake, which just puts it over the top, right? Like,
I love Rodney's handshakes. I want him to host a handshake class.
oh yeah, because it's clear they're all unique and have like cool moves to every single one of them.
They're almost like baseball handshakes. You know, after a guy hits a homer, and then like the next 3 guys as he goes into the dugout, they have their special handshakes. It's like the same
Absolutely.
thing. They're all like 5 to 8 seconds long, and like sharp and on point too. There's no like long pauses or delays. It's like, ooh,
Pretty great. Pretty
good
great.
stuff.
Yeah. And then Clayton comes out and tries to kind of take over a little bit. And you know what do kids love more than anything? A fort.
They love building blanket and pillow forts, man.
Yep.
And the kids loved it too. So by props to Clayton. Like
Oh, he
the
played the
kids
game
loved it.
well.
Oh yeah, and like he came to play this. He seemed pretty motivated this episode,
Yeah.
too, off the hop. So he makes the blanket fort, and then the kids all get under there, and they're kind of doing the sleepover thing, and it looks
Oh
all
yeah.
adorable, and they're, oh, have you kissed Michelle or Miss Michelle? They
Yep.
always call her Miss Michelle, which is also very cute.
Yes.
Um, and then they ask him, have you ever farted in front of Michelle?
Maybe.
Maybe. I thought that was pretty funny.
Pretty
And
funny.
then we get a great line, which honestly kind of sums up all of my thoughts, maybe all of your thoughts, and probably all of a lot of people's thoughts on Clayton.
Humanity's thoughts.
Luke, one of the children, says, Clayton has big muscles. He'd be good at carrying the groceries in. And somehow
And really good at fort building.
yes, that too.
Yes, yeah.
And just somehow that just captures what we've seen of Clayton, where it's almost like, yeah, he's a big dude who's got muscles.
He's a little himbo-y,
Yeah.
little little Ken doll action to it, but with a very sad beard.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's a boring personality less dude. We just haven't gotten anything out of him. And,
Yes.
it's like, how much is that him not opening up? Because we can talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Versus him just being, maybe more of a reserved person. And considering he's going to be the next Bachelor, which is not a spoiler at this point. Like, it's gotta
Nope.
be the worst kept secret in the world. Like,
Yep.
when Marvel pretends they're not going to make a new Avengers movie and then they announce it, it's like, oh wow, I had no idea you would make another movie that makes $1 billion for you.
We don't know. They don't like money. Come on.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I don't know. But we get a bit more Clayton and we learn about him some because the kids, through this kind of meet the guys thing, get to pick who goes on the first one-on-one with Michelle.
Yep.
And plus, the kids are picking all the dates this week. So the group date, the one-on-one date.
That's what they said. I'm interested though because I feel like it was really just the first one-on-one that they influenced.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the second one-on-one they did. They said they did,
and I don't think they influenced the group date either. I don't know. Maybe
they might have. They might have, depending if, because like the first, so Clayton gets his one-on-one date, and it kind of feels a bit like a field trip. Like, oh, a class
it
field.
does. It does.
So maybe the group date, which goes to a farm, is another class field trip. Maybe
You're right. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Yeah, but it definitely felt like this, and to what you just said, the kids choose Clayton, right?
Yeah.
And so
although what's funny is he comes out of the door. It's a dramatic reveal. Who did the kids pick? It's Clayton.
Yep.
And and Michelle's like, "Look, we're taking a limo." I was like, "I don't think the kids booked this limo."
No, probably not. That's just a fortunate thing of being the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do get inside, and there's all sorts of treats inside, which I'm like, oh, I bet the kids may have had some influence there. Because there's pizza, donuts, gummy bears, licorice, Oreos, and all sorts of other sweets and sugars in there.
Can we talk about how disgusting that pizza looked? Because
I thought it looked okay.
I'm not picky about pizza, but man, that looked like some rough, like Sam's Club pizza, like from Walmart or something. Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a little icky.
Neapolitan style pizza,
Yeah.
The super thin crust where the sauce kind of dampens it a bit, so you got to fold it to eat it. But
I think it was just sitting a little too long, maybe.
That's something I always wonder about, and I wonder why we never see them eat on these dates. I'm like, maybe that pizza has sat there for an hour and a half.
Oh yeah,
and since they staged it and everything, right? And the same with the group date or the one-on-one dinners. Like, you never see them eating the food. I'm like, they probably plated that food hours ago.
Yeah. Although Clayton does take a bite.
He does, and Michelle has a bit of licorice. So.
Yep.
But they end up going to a museum for a private tour after hours, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool. It felt like very night at the museum movie vibes. Very playful, very cute for sure.
Yeah. So they go around. They kind of start joking around. They play tag. It's like, oh, we're the only ones here. We can play tag. And Michelle's it first, and she tries to chase Clayton and goes, nope, actually, you're it, and I'm going to run off.
Well, he had shoes on, and she's in socks. It's like, it's not really a fair fight there.
Plus, she's also the Bachelorette. She can make her own rules, and I'm not going to stop her.
Bless her. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they do a little dance thing too, which is actually kind of fun. I have it written down here. He looks like Napoleon Dynamite dancing.
Very much,
Some of
very
the
goofy. Yes.
some of the like body wave stuff he's doing, I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's straight out of it.
Yeah.
They practice their mating calls because they go up to this screen where it's like a camera captures you and basically uses a fancy Xbox Connect to mimic your movements with this ancient turkey creature.
Yep.
And then, so it's like jump, wave your arms, and do your mating dance or call or whatever. And it's like, oh, this is just really fun, cool. Seems like a great date.
Yeah, these are the kind of things that maybe if I go to a museum, I walk by them.
Yeah,
But if you're 12 years old, it's like perfection. And if you're trying to be
yeah.
playful on a date, perfection. You know?
I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, if I was there, say, like, I was just like, I just want to go see that exhibit, and I went by myself, like, I'd probably walk past that stuff. But if I
Yep.
was on, a first, second, the introductory dating phase with somebody, I'd be like, okay, let's break out the goofy stuff, let's have some fun, make some laughs,
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
then they do kind of a butterfly catching thing, which I thought was pretty neat because all the
Yeah.
butterflies have little notes on them that have like different questions for them so they can kind of get to know each other better. So
Yeah.
they
And
grab one. Oh,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say they grab one. It's about what their favorite holiday is, and they both pick Thanksgiving. Also, to all our
Very interesting.
American listeners and friends out there, happy Thanksgiving this week.
Oh, thank you. I'm an American listener, so thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's great.
we had the Canadian Thanksgiving like 6 weeks ago, but
Love it. Yeah. The
yeah,
October Thanksgiving. Yes.
yeah. Well, I got to do it because that's when the harvest is up here. It starts getting cold, man.
Smart. Smart.
Yeah. Um, then they, what superpowers they would pick, and Clayton's like, "Oh, I want to fly," and then Michelle, like the absolute doll she is, picks the superpower of healing.
She's too sweet. You know what I mean? The first thing I thought of, and I went to Morgan about this, my partner, and I was like, and she wasn't caught up on the episodes. I was watching and taking notes, and I was like, what's the superpower if you could have one that you pick? And she went invisibility, and I was like, exactly the same for me. What's
Oh
your
yeah,
answer, Adam?
glad you asked because mine would be super strength
Super strength. There you go. So we're all
because
selfish pricks, also.
absolutely. But I was thinking about this because there's an X-Men character, and this is Adam's super nerd moment of the podcast.
Sure.
Um, and he's like kind of an obscure character, but he's considered one of the most powerful mutants in all of X-Men.
Okay.
But he just lives in like a normal apartment, and he just uses his powers to like help fix people's toasters and lawnmowers and help the old lady get her grocery. Like he only uses his powers to do mundane things. He doesn't get involved in
I like
any
this.
world saving, nothing, villainy, nothing. He's like, no, I'm just gonna use my powers for the mundane things to help people around me, and that's what I would use super strength for. Like, friends need help moving. Let me just lift this couch by myself.
Yeah, no problem. I'll use a pinky.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I would use it. I wouldn't be like running around, grabbing, cars and showing off or whatever. I'd just be like, yeah, the mundane stuff, and then to, go up next to that, the big dude in the gym squatting his
Oh
4 plates
God,
aside and just put like 15 on and do it like it's nothing.
it's got to feel good.
I have fun with that too, but
Love it, love it. No,
yeah,
that's great. I had to ask you when I heard that. I was like, we
I was
gotta
gonna ask you, yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Perfect. And then from there they go to a little planetarium show that the kids have organized, which is kind of nice. They kind of talk about who they are and stuff a little bit. And I don't know. I kind of zoned out a little bit here. I rewound it twice to take notes, and both times I didn't really take
There
anything
wasn't
from it.
anything
So.
in the planetarium of note, in all
No,
honesty, except
no,
for some pun about Saturn's rings and engagement rings.
something like that, and I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even wasn't even good enough to write down. So,
Yeah.
but that takes us to the evening part of the date. So where they again talk a little bit more about who they are, and this is where I kind of get weird with Clayton because
Yep.
his questions to Michelle feel almost quizzical instead of intimate. You know what I
Correct.
mean?
Yep. There's no romantic vibes.
No, no, they're like I have it written down here. They have like first date chemistry where you're still kind of feeling people out, and
Nervous too.
Yeah, and like, can you still have that nervous chemistry where you're not totally loose around the person and you're trying to, still put on the "I'm very cool, you should date me again, please," energy.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Pump
Um,
yourself up a little.
yeah, and you can tell that Michelle isn't totally sold on him either. I think she even says as much. I really need to figure out who Clayton is because hometowns are next week, and that's really important.
Yeah, yeah.
So they kind of, and like I said, it's the weird quizzical vibe to the questions where he just keeps asking like, so how were you like when you were on the show, and were you always this open? Because I've struggled with it. How are you so open? What do you do? And it's like
Generic, kind of. Honestly,
almost
like
when you don't know what to say.
he looked nervous. I found myself. This is terrible, but the man has some bro acne from just I think probably just from sweating all the time, and I found myself focusing on that because I was kind of bored, honestly.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I rewound parts of the date because like, oh, I missed something, and then it would come up again, and I would have gotten distracted immediately. And because yeah, not the most engaging date we've seen on TV.
Yep,
So,
yep, indeed, indeed.
and unfortunately for Clayton, well, for this episode at least, he doesn't get his rose. Michelle decides that there's just not enough there, and yeah, it's total first date, second date energy, and
Yeah,
she's
I
got a
mean, he was a slow start to begin with, and even last
yeah.
date where she's like, "Oh, he's really picking it up." I'm like, "Is he though?" I don't know
I mean,
about that.
if you're grading on a curve, I guess he did.
Like, yeah, he was doing better than maybe like Olu was, or I'm trying to think of somebody else like, is it Chris G, the Canadian?
Yeah,
Yeah, like maybe he was ahead of that curve, but not by
yeah,
much, man.
it
So,
was, yeah. So,
yep, yeah.
oh
And
well.
what I thought was interesting is that he didn't seem that broken up about it. Honestly,
No, I have that written down too. He seemed almost sadder that he didn't get a rose because that would keep him on the show, than sadder about the relationship with Michelle ending.
yeah. No,
Like the difference between the two. Um, yeah, like sadder that he didn't get picked by somebody than sadder that he's not getting this relationship. Almost like being cut from a sports team
totally.
reaction in a way, you
Yeah,
know?
he was like, "This sucks, but I'll move on," kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, man. I mean, I guess you weren't that into her anyway, so
I think he was talking himself into it more, and I wonder if it's that bubble thing that contestants talk about all
I
the
think
time,
so. Yeah,
when you're in the bubble, you really think it and you talk yourself into it, and then maybe, you get 2 days outside and you go, oh, I mean, that was nice and all,
I'm
but
not wildly in love. Oh, I knew her for 3 weeks. Oh,
yeah,
or
yeah,
5 weeks. I don't know, but yeah, no,
yeah.
totally, totally.
But it does close kind of sweet. We do see him off well. He gets letters from two of the kids, and they're very nice. I believe it's Luke and Kelsey wrote him
Mm-hmm.
letters.
Yep.
Luke just kind of wrote like, "Hi Clayton, I think you're cool. I like your muscles. Good luck in life."
You're swole, bro. Good job.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Kelsey kind of writes something that's a lot more, "Clayton, I think you're super awesome and deserve love." And I'm like, does a 8-year-old write like this? You know?
I don't know if it was, maybe a producer was sitting with her and being like,
I
"Oh, well, say what you think about this,"
We'll
and
talk about that when we get to the credits clip because
oh yeah,
I have some takes on just how coached these kids were. But yeah, that one seemed a little sus to me, and then it also felt like they were really giving him the hard sell for this is your new bachelor.
yeah, and it was nice to see some emotion from him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
It was nice to actually. He's like, I haven't cried in, did he say years? I think,
something like
and
that. Yeah,
that was the first time. Like, I didn't really well up or anything, but it was a little bit like, hey, I think I wrote down, Clayton does have some emotion to him. He's a real boy. That's what I put. So
uh,
maybe it's one of those things. Like, I wasn't like, I thought Michelle was pretty vanilla when she was on her Bachelor season.
mhm.
So maybe that's the case. And a little bit of skincare and grow out his beard, a Clayton glow up, and they always get a little more poise when they become the lead. Maybe those things will happen, and it'll be just enough to make it work. You know.
And he can be boring, but if he has a great group of girls,
Also
it'll
that.
make or break the season. Because
Yes.
Ari was pretty boring, but he
Oh,
had a really good group of
extremely.
girls.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what was Ari's catchphrase that he would always say?
Oh,
Oh, every time a girl would tell him something, he'd be like, yeah, I love that. And it was just like an automatic response, just like it just clicked. It was like pressing a button.
yep. You're all 15 years younger than me. I love that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then who was the farmer? I heard his season was a little boring, but again, he had great girls, so it made up for the fact that he was kind of a boring guy.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. I don't know which one that was, but I'm really
So
hoping
I think
that's
it's
the
the one that
case.
Caitlyn got her start on. Like that would have been,
I don't remember.
gosh, that would be like 2014 or 2015. Chris,
Okay, Chris,
Chris. I
gotcha.
don't remember much more. I didn't watch it. I watched one or two episodes because I was dating a girl at the time who was like, "Well, it's Monday. I'm watching The Bachelor, so if you want to hang out," I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah, I do. No, yeah, I started on JoJo's Bachelorette season, which was I think another year or two after that. But
Yeah, that was a bit after that.
yeah, yeah.
So
But so next big thing we have is a group date, right?
hmm
The card says love is messy, and of course that means we're headed to the farm. So let me bring up our farm picture here. I actually was able to pull it up here.
nice.
So Michelle takes
Ooh.
the boys to the farm. Starts off by milking some cows, and of course it's Rodney time. It's whenever
Oh,
he's on the screen, it's fucking Rodney time. And
it's great.
he mentions like as soon as they walk in to see these cows, he's like, dude, I'm more of an like I switched to almond milk and oat milk like a while ago. Like this, I'm not about this.
Dude, he's amazing. I just have written down. I just have Rodney, and then I just drew a bunch of hearts around his name,
You're drawing
like a
oh, bless him.
like a middle school girl with a crush. I'm just like, ah, Rodney.
Oh man, he's so great, and his cow reactions. I'm like, same dude, same.
Yeah, yeah, he's unbelievable. And then Michelle has a pretty funny line because they're all so they got to start off by milking the cows, right?
Yep.
And then it was like Rodney against Martin, and Martin you could tell
I
was
think it was
very.
Rodney against Rick at first.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Maybe,
okay.
maybe.
Anyway, Rodney, he works through it, and we get the quote of the episode.
Yeah, Bessie,
Yeah.
you okay? You okay? No, no, no. We can't lose the milk. Oh
Uh, it,
man.
not no, not to discredit you, but Rodney's
Oh, I
delivery and
can't do
his
it.
posture in that moment and everything, it's just so good. I just
Yeah, he.
I love the man.
Yep.
He's like I said, I wish if I gotten through casting and gotten onto this season and I could have been his friend,
Bromance.
absolutely. And because he seems like everybody seems to like him, even the guys that are kind of like dickheads this season
Yep.
still seem to like Rodney.
Oh, everybody. Like
Yeah.
it's have you ever had that friend that you introduced to like four or five different friend groups of yours or your partner's friends or whatever, and they're all like, I fucking like that guy. There's just that X factor that I call it, and he has an
Yeah.
X factor that you're like, you can't not like him. If you don't
No.
like him, you're there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. No, he's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so anyway, Joe gets down there, starts working the teats, and that's where Michelle comes in with probably her best line of the episode, which was
Yes.
Joe can handle teats.
Oh yes. Well, and while I'm watching it, I'm like, Joe's from Minnesota. He's like, this isn't by accident, and we'll talk about it later. But like,
Hmm.
it's kind of like putting Clayton on a feats of strength date. You know what I mean? You're like, you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
You know where this is going. But
yeah.
yeah. So
See, I didn't know that about Minnesota. I didn't think about
oh,
it
they're
as like
huge dairy. Yeah, huge dairy.
I
Just
had no
because
idea.
a lot of
Yeah,
land, a lot of bodies of water too. So
yeah, yeah.
tends
No,
to
it
help.
makes sense now that I think about it, but just before I had no idea. So
Yep, yep. So Joe and Nate kind of go at it, right? Like they're both Nate failing to keep up with Joe as he has in pretty much every group date. But they get to feeding some baby cows, which I think is one of the cuter moments
it was.
next, right?
Yeah, they're all feeding the cows, and again, Joe feeding the baby cow like it's nothing. He's like petting it and stroking
It's
it
like
like it's a
nibbling his
dog.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so like tender, and then Nate gets down, from 6 feet 8 down to
Yep.
2 feet off the ground to try and feed this thing. The cow just turns around and walks away from him.
Yeah,
Uh,
Nate's group date game is not the best unless it's
no.
pull Michelle away to go Mac for a sec. And even during this date, and we'll talk about the little bit here in a bit, but like right at the beginning of the date, he walks up, hugs her, and gives her a little peck, and I'm
Hmm.
like, and even I think Rodney says he's like, "Hey, bro," just kind of
Yeah.
ribbing him a little bit.
Well,
But that's Nate's game. Nate is a lovey-dovey guy.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
almost an unwritten rule that when you're in front of all the guys, you don't go straight to Mac. You kind of try to get off
absolutely.
to the side,
It's a little
and
respectful, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, you just not trying to like wave it in their faces too much. But
Yeah, yeah. But next bit they get on the group date is going to churn some butter, which is our picture here with all the guys working at it.
yeah,
They all seem to have their different styles. I think Rodney thinks in his little cutaway that he's got the best style, uh, and they're all working at it. But shocker, the man from Minnesota comes out on top with this again with like maybe some of the best looking butter I've seen. I'm like, did they place that in there for him?
it looked so good. Like I don't put butter on a lot of things. Like, I don't really put butter on sandwiches unless
No.
I'm like toasting the outside of the sandwich for
Yeah.
like a grilled cheese or whatever. But I looked at butter. I was like, ooh, I want to put some of that on something. Like that looked good.
Yeah, it's like
And
that butter that's been like the Irish Kerrygold. If you ever had that stuff,
not
it's
familiar
like a
with that.
special Irish butter, and if you leave it out for a little bit and just let it soften, it like still that didn't look as good as Joe's butter.
No,
So,
it looked almost like so good it was almost fake.
yep,
Like, yeah,
I definitely so.
but he had a good motion. I guess the problem for the other guys is like Olu, Martin, and Nate were all trying to like, like
Start a fire.
Boy Scouts start a fire
Yeah.
by spinning the thing around. Well,
Oh,
Joe
bless
had
him.
that kind of that perfect like pump and pull and twist motion down. Like that's when I started to get a bit curious. I'm like, milking a cow and feeding a cow, whatever. Second, he was like killing it on the butter too. I'm like, okay, hang on a second.
This is there's something here. Yep, yep,
He's
yep.
either just as good as Michelle is at like picking things up and killing it, or he knows what he's doing.
Yep,
And
yep.
as we learn and as you've said, he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and it gets to them cleaning up some poop next,
Mhm.
and they're all working at it. And Nate decide. Well, he doesn't decide. He's 6'8". I imagine leaning over like that probably does hurt his back, but
Yeah,
he
I was
pulls up
thinking
lame
about
a little
that.
bit.
Is it made me think of like we're in the time of year now in Canada where we're getting a lot of snow.
Yep.
And every year you get all these videos about proper shoveling technique because if you shovel, you're pushing too much with your back, you're going to hurt yourself. And,
Oh yeah.
you got to make sure you crouch. And there's just things that you can't do at 6'8" as easily as people that are 5'10" or 6 feet or even 6'2", which is still tall, but just not quite 6'8" tall.
Yeah.
So I imagine that using a shovel that's designed for a normal sized fella at his height actually could. Maybe he milked it a bit because, as we've said,
I think he
he's
did a little.
pulling Michelle aside, like, oh, I'm just gonna steal Michelle for a second.
Quick
But
little
yeah,
kisses. Yep.
yeah, he gets a little peck. But the mistake he made is that he was shoveling with Rodney because
He
they were
did.
kind of teaming up, and Rodney doesn't let him get away with it for a second,
No.
and Michelle picks Team Rodney, hashtag Team Rodney here, because she gives him his little peck, but then goes over and starts shoveling with our boy Rodney, and
Hell yeah.
Rodney hops in the wheelbarrow, which was my favorite moment of the episode.
Yep.
Hops in the wheelbarrow, and Michelle starts pushing him around in the wheelbarrow, like
Cute.
like it's nothing. With her arms too, like she's jacked, like she could obviously do it, but like
And Rodney's not
I
the
just
biggest
loved it.
guy on the planet, and a wheelbarrow
No,
is meant to, but still.
I mean he's probably 200 pounds still though, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, for
or at
sure.
least like 185 or 190. Like he's a buff dude. Like standing against any regular folk, that guy's in good shape. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely so. But yeah, I think it kind of backfired on old Nate here. He got his
sure did.
kiss, and then Michelle was like, "Yeah, you're being a baby.
Yeah,
I'll hop in here."
yeah. I want to have some fun. This looks like fun. And
Yep.
then after she does the wheelbarrow ride with our boy Rodney, they do their secret handshake again.
That's how he gets his
Oh,
kiss. Every
And he gets
time.
his kiss every time.
It's
That's such a
genius.
cool way to sneak your kiss in. It's like, oh, we have to do our handshake, but there's always a kiss in there.
Well, I've heard of a lot of guys that have a first date move of going to those little photo booths, right? And like a photo booth, you get to take like 5 pictures or something like that, and you're like, okay, you pick 3, I pick 2, right? And we'll pick what we do, like goofy, funny, whatever. And then the guy's like, the last one, let's go for a little kiss, right? And who could say no to that, right? It's too cute.
Especially if it's Rodney.
If it's Rodney, I'm in there with him. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the handshake is two gold for sure.
Well, because he did the one with Ahmed, and then he has this one with Michelle. And I'm
Yep.
glad we saw I think we got pretty well the full handshake with Michelle because we only got like a second of it
Yeah.
in previous episodes, and
Yeah.
then in the episode they came up with it, we didn't even get to see it. So
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame on like Bachelor producers and editors. You've been doing Rodney dirty this whole season.
They
You've
keep
been
putting some of the best Rodney stuff on their Twitter or Instagram. Like I had to pull the video and put it on our Twitter.
Stop
Like,
using him as a promotion tool.
yeah, they had just like all the behind the scenes and then talking about the haunted house and stuff. I'm like, this is amazing Rodney content. How are you robbing us of this?
I don't know. It's downright travesty. But so next thing they do is a quick little hayride. I don't really have much to say about the hayride. They're like, I was weirded out by the fact that they might have done the night part on the hayride, and I was like, how are they gonna get separate time? But that it ended up being nothing, right? And so it leads us to the night part with Nate going first, right?
Again, his move is just pulling Michelle, and honestly, as much as he may have been a little bit of a baby earlier, and she may have called him on it, she doesn't seem to mind really. So
you can tell with Nate, for her it's different. First of all,
yeah,
and like the rules don't really, like, I saw it very similarly with JoJo Fletcher's season with Jordan Rogers. Like Jordan Rogers tried half as hard as any of the other guys throughout that season. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? It really, like, I feel like that's the vibes I get here.
Well, if you have chemistry that is so strong like that, and you're so confident, like it's almost like when you're like again when you're dating and you get to the point with someone where you're so confident that not that you don't have to try with them, but you can just kind of casual it up and not.
It's
have
natural.
To worry.
Yeah, it's just natural.
Yeah, and so it's like they're at that stage, which is, like I think you said he's your pick at this point.
He was from the beginning, so I figured I'd just stick with it.
And he's been a good pick so far. Like, I mean,
he makes me a little nervous times that he's a little too casual, a little too cool. But like I could see that backfire at the end, perhaps.
Maybe.
But other than that, yeah, like she's obsessed with the guy. But
yeah.
So he talks a little about his family situation, right? He says, his dad's a weird one who's like, I don't want to see any of your girls that you date. I don't care. And like, it kind of felt like this thing is like, did your dad tell you this when you were in high school and then you just used that again? Because like Nate's like, oh yeah, but also I never brought any girls home to him. So
maybe a chicken and egg sort of thing there.
Could be. But yeah.
Now he's in his, I mean, he's 28 or 29, right?
I think he's in his late 20s. Yes.
Yeah, he's so, I mean, could be a different thing. And plus we know that he moved from Winnipeg to Austin too.
Also,
so
that
it's also just been the thing that maybe while he's been dating since however long he's been in Austin, like, I mean, to go back to Winnipeg by yourself is a pretty big thing to do because it's not a lot of direct flights to Winnipeg. I mean,
really?
He probably would have to fly. I don't know how the Austin airport is about flights and stuff.
It's decent.
But
it's not. It's not huge, but it's decent.
You probably get to Minnesota then, but you're gonna have to fly Minnesota and then Minnesota, Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's airport. For some reason, just seems to shut down every now and then. I don't know what's going on. Just randomly hear that, like with hockey teams, like, oh yeah, they had to fly to Minnesota and take a bus, and it's like,
ooh.
So
Gotcha.
But to bring a girl on that kind of thing, like that's a big thing. Like flights aren't cheap, especially in Canada. When you start flying into Canada, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that flights inside the states are quite cheap, but when you
they
go
can be for sure.
So,
but big thing starts to happen during this conversation, right? Nate says that he's definitely falling for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first time Nate said it. I feel like
To her.
I feel like we heard it in a cutaway, yeah, previously. And at first she says she feels very strongly for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of got a little gray area of whether she said she was falling for him as well. I feel like she kind of did.
I don't think she was out as blunt with it, but I think she was reaffirming his feelings without saying the exact same thing.
Right,
So,
right. Which
yeah.
is like, as the Bachelorette at this point with 8 dudes left, that's got to be, unless I forget, it was Katie and Greg, I think. That I think it was Katie and Greg like about this time where Katie was like, "No, I'm falling for you too."
Yeah, that was.
So
Gosh, that's such a mess.
yeah, and Katie's a mess, so we know, but she has her messy 12 days just because of that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've turned on her, man.
oh,
I'm almost as far to you on her on the side with her where I was pretty indifferent before, but reading about this and then like what the 12 days of messy was, I'm kind of like, uh,
welcome to the dark side, my friend.
it just felt like a girl in high school, you know, putting her ex's pseudo on blast on social media before
Totally.
announcing her new, boy of the month or whatever. I was just like, oh, I don't really like this.
Yeah, and
So,
for you viewers out there, Adam is probably the nicest co-host towards these people, good, bad, or indifferent of how their personalities are. He's the nicest. So it takes a lot to get him here. So welcome, sir.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, there's probably I could probably count on one hand the amount of people that annoy me in this franchise.
There you go.
There's a lot of turds in this franchise, but I just go, they're a turd, whatever.
I could count probably dozens. So there you go. That's there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Joe is next, right? He says a shocker here, right? That his grandparents run a dairy farm.
Yeah.
Oh
So he
no.
was right at home. He knew exactly how to play with the teats. He knew exactly how to churn butter. He knew exactly how to posture himself with animals. And I've heard a lot of people say this with animals, and I don't have a lot of experience with farm animals, just
Yeah.
like friends, pets. But pets and animals can almost tell whether you're the man or not, to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
And I've heard that especially with horses, like when people go to ride a horse,
Yes.
like they can tell like on a movie set or something, or if it's, you know, I don't know, race horses, the horse almost can tell as soon as you get on whether you're comfortable and confident and know what you're doing, and versus the people that get on and are all nervous. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's just kind of like most animals are probably like that. Like I think about friends' dogs that listen to me and the ones that don't. The
Yep.
ones that listen to me are the ones I'm comfortable with. The ones that don't listen to me are the ones that I think are going to eat my face. So
Confidence is a big thing with animals for sure,
yeah,
and especially Joe's type, which is quiet confidence. You
hmm
know, did want to
yeah,
say welcome in, Catigator. Hello, hello.
oh,
But yeah, you're totally right. It's a vibe thing.
yeah.
Animals get into the vibes much better than us humans do. You know.
They can pick that energy up.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Uh, so they have a nice little chat. I mean, Joe's in a really good spot.
He is.
You can tell like the same way that her and Nate just have great chemistry when they're around each other.
Yep.
That Joe and her just again, it's like that same level. I think that's why we think we have them in the top tier.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and
Uh,
you can tell that Joe and her relationship is as close to her dad and her mom's relationship that
yeah.
the show has. Whether she wants that exactly or not, it seems to be like he is like her dad is so like
Man
purposeful
of
with
few
his
words.
words.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Joe's a very similar way. Like he doesn't really speak unless he has something to say. Like I'll go on forever doing word salad and fill in all the dead air in the world. Where Joe's the kind of guy who's gonna just kind of say what he says. So
Yep. And I'm the same as you. Like I fill the gaps. Like I can't tell you how many first dates I've been on where I was the only one that talked the whole time because the gal was so nervous and
yeah.
not talkative. So yeah.
And sometimes that works against you when you go on first dates because they're like, "Geez, this guy won't shut up." But
Yep.
then it's like my nervous thing is, "Oh, geez, dead air." Well, let's talk about anything.
Yep.
And honestly, working in sales, I bet you I've done the same thing and talked myself out of sales because I maybe was a bit nervous through the thing and kept feeling dead air and talked my way out of something that maybe may have been a success, but
Could be.
other
Could be.
times it works,
Yep. Yep.
So. Um,
Rick is next.
and
So
Rodney, they both have just nice chats. And
yeah,
like,
I wouldn't say either one of them was like too particularly anything to talk about, except for Rodney's kiss with her. I had to say,
hmm,
very deep. Like I haven't seen them like make out, if you will. This was a
yeah,
little bit of a make out,
we
you
talked
know?
about how she has like she kisses certain guys very horny, and that's just my word for it.
Yeah,
Very like deep and passionate. They get the hands, behind the other person's head and neck and cheek. Versus the guy, she just kind of leans in and has like a little soft
nice
kiss with.
smooch. Yeah.
And this was the first time I think we've seen her and Rodney have that kind of deep, horny kiss.
It was
So
good to see. Let me tell you, it was good
yeah,
to see him progress to that from friend zone on his one-on-one to this.
yeah,
Bless him.
yeah. Friend zone his bowling shirt to getting the hot and heavy, steamy kiss.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the next little bit here, it's Martin
I
time and his
I
conversation with the guys and how he talks about Michelle.
I just have the gritting your teeth and going
Yep.
emoji written down. Like I hand drew it like 8 times.
Nice.
Like yeah, and then it's just what the fuck, oof, oh boy, oh no, like
I worry about because like I'm a pretty transparent person and like there are actually guys out here like this that like would be so sweet to somebody in person and then just flip it. You know what I mean? Flip it to their bros. And
yeah,
Martin has this chat every Monday morning over his Cubano with his buddies after the club scene. But
or when he's in the
jeez.
barber shop getting his new zigzags put in.
Oh,
Yeah,
yep, he needs fades bad at this point too. I think
yeah,
that's probably why he's amping the game up, you know?
yeah. He and here's the thing, like we clearly were not as Team Martin as we were Team Rodney,
Oh hell no.
but
No, no, but we liked his style.
we liked him.
Yeah.
We liked him the first couple weeks, but then uh I can't remember if it was before or after his group date. We had the first or one-on-one date, sorry.
Yeah.
And then we had the one-on-one date, which was good enough but not great.
It was fine.
Last week, another stumble, and then this week he really, kicked himself in his own junk. So
Yeah, yeah. And then uh he keeps with this phrasing of like she doesn't get it. She's not doing it right. She doesn't understand the situation right. Even in the conversation where I was stepped on my dick last episode, uh it was clearly her that wasn't.
yeah, she's the one who didn't understand. There was a miscommunication, but it was her fault for not understanding.
Yeah, it couldn't be me, Mr. Eyebrow Slit Man.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
yeah, and then he calls her immature over her poem, which to her was a really deep thing, and he says it was immature, like, oh, she can't get over this childhood trauma or whatever, and it's just like, again, I just wrote that same emoji down like another four
Ugh.
times,
Yep, yep.
and he even mentions it to her when they start talking, not
Yeah.
about the immature thing. He mentions that, oh, there was a miscommunication and like you didn't understand me,
Do
and
you see
then
her
her
face?
her face goes from kind of like grinning because she's kind of like because she thinks he's hot,
Oh, he's a,
which she
he's a
clearly
beautiful piece of man. Let's put that out
he's a
there.
beefcake. He's a good beefcake.
Yeah.
But the second you beat me to it, her face just shifts,
Oh yeah.
goes completely to from I like looking at this hunk of meat to what did this guy just say about me? Excuse me, like not quite sassy boss girl about to like all over you, but ooh, she
Yeah.
she flipped.
Yeah. The meat went
So,
sour.
oh yeah,
um, but like even when he's talking with her, he's like, "Oh, you're an amazingly thoughtful, wonderful woman," while also kind of like talking shit down to her to everybody else and stuff. And it's like, this is clearly like baby, baby, baby at the club. You know what I mean? Like we had one dance. Now you're the most beautiful. Like come back to my apartment.
oh, I'll buy you breakfast. We can go on a date. We'll go out for dinner tomorrow night after.
Yeah, we can count my abs later.
And
Yeah.
then when he's in the barbershop or having that Cubano or he's in the gym locker room before he's gonna go do 6 hours of arms, he's like, "Yo, that fucking dumb girl the other night."
Hate her. Gonna go back to the
Yeah,
club again instead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But thankfully, the opposite, also swole person, Olu steps up and
Wolu on point.
man, he comes in and lays down the law about Martin, right?
He even says, I don't. Does he say anything to Martin when they're having that chat, or is he
No,
just kind of side eye him?
nope. He
I
takes
didn't
in
think
his
so.
bullshit, I think, and then
I didn't think he said anything. I think he and Olu,
yeah,
much like Joe, is very thoughtful with his words. Like, when he says something, it's because he's thought about it and he wants to say
absolutely.
it.
Yeah,
And Michelle is well aware of that. So when he talks to her and says, "Hey, I just really think you need to know that Martin's talking some shit,"
yep,
she believes him and trusts him because Olu doesn't say anything unless it's truthful, honest, and he has a reason to say it.
absolutely. And I think I wrote something down to the fact of like, so many times on this franchise do we have these guys trying to throw each other under the bus, and it's almost never sincere. It's always like, oh, look at me, or give
Mm-hmm.
me more attention. This was the most sincere, well thought out, and you could tell like he's not here to fuck around.
No,
He's giving up his time to progress his relationship to help her and take care of her.
yeah,
So
and uh, he has like a very big brotherly vibe, where if you were his friend or someone he cares about, like he's gonna look after you and he's gonna treat you like your family, and he treats Michelle with that kind of level of, like seriousness is the wrong word, but just
yeah,
that level of care and somewhat kind of protective in a way too.
yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah,
To quickly answer your question, Kat, yes, I do have a partner. Yes, Miss Baby Ruthie on Twitch, but her name is Morgan in real life.
Dad, I'm
um,
single.
Adam is single. But yeah, I think we've both have good context about relationships, right? Both
Yeah,
you're
I
yeah
dated a lot through my 90s. I
through your
dated a lot through
90s.
my 20s. I've had lots of relationships from 2 weeks to, a few months to a couple years, right? And it just happens that right now I don't have one going, but
Fair enough.
um,
It is
you
COVID
know,
life, it's a little, it's rough out there,
yeah.
man. But yeah, no, Olu really shows us like what
Hmm.
real thoughtfulness is, right?
Yeah.
And
Like
so
to
it clearly got to Michelle, right?
Yeah, because like if you would compare this to Chris S. last episode, like direct contrast. Like Michelle takes his words in and believes him, where when Chris S. said he was trying to say similar things about Nate. Um,
Yeah,
she was like, okay, well, I heard you. I don't need to hear you again.
go away.
Where, yeah, and I think some difference there is that she's super into Nate, and she was clearly, Martin has been losing points the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But again, just her entire demeanor about the way that she, you know, took both of Chris's "I'm looking out for you" speeches to Olu's was so wildly different.
Well, Chris's speech was very similar to Martin, honestly, which was like,
Yeah.
clearly you don't get it and you don't get me.
Hmm.
That's what Chris's speech was like. Olu's was like, hey,
Yeah.
girl, I want you to end up, I think he says, I want you to end up with the right guy.
Hmm.
And he doesn't say
Doesn't
me.
say.
He doesn't
Yeah.
say, very non selfish. Like, ladies out there, please go hit up Olu's DMs because he's a good dude.
If you're
Like,
in New Jersey or really that tri-state area,
is
I
that where
mean, I'm
he is?
sure. I believe I believe it was New Jersey. So,
Gotcha.
uh, I don't know. I don't follow him on Instagram. I don't know if he's found someone since the show.
Well, I'm
Has
sure.
ended. But if you're out there and you're into dark chocolate, I mean, you aren't
Ooh,
going to get any better than him.
beautiful hunk of man, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
So Michelle obviously takes what he says seriously, right? Grabs the rose and grabs Martin away, right? Uh,
Yeah, I'm laughing at Cat in chat. Thank you, Cat.
oh yeah, for sure, Kat, for sure. Um, but she says it was brought to her attention that he's saying one thing to her face and being completely different with the guys, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
and no, I was just gonna say yeah, and she takes him aside. They have a conversation where Martin handles it even worse than he did earlier because he keeps talking over her, which
terrible.
you can't do. And I'm not gonna say that I haven't done that before. Sometimes I do it when I get stressed and I just I just word salad and word vomit it all out. But you can't do that. It's something I'm conscious of, but it almost seems like Martin wasn't conscious that he was doing this until Michelle said it to him. And then
I think
he still
there's
kind of proceeded to talk over.
oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a difference because like like most there's people who are passive listeners and there's people who are vocal listeners. And like I'm a very vocal listener, so like when somebody talks to me, I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that kind of thing. And sometimes that leads me to feel like I'm like talking over people, and so I'm the
Mhm.
same thing. I've definitely done it just out of like nervousness, right?
Yeah.
Um, but
But
he like backs it up to the point of like, he calls her like, oh, you don't know what I'm saying, my love, you're not getting it right, and oh, you want to piss a girl off that's not vibing with you, call her my love.
or dear or honey, because it
Oh,
almost comes across like sarcastic at that point. Like, oh babe, you don't get it. It's like, oh, like no, if the girl's not picking up your vibe, like you don't use cutesy nickname, shorthand, whatever you want to call it, pet names, anything.
that's like deep, that's like not deep relationship stuff, but like beyond sex relationship stuff. Like I'm not gonna call somebody my love until we've at least had sex. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna. I don't even say. I don't like to use that word until it even gets close to something, because I don't
Yeah,
want that to ever get misconstrued. Because
yeah, it better be serious.
that's a really way easy way to screw something up.
Oh yeah, but that's Martin's move, baby. He's
Yeah.
my love to everybody, but he says she's letting the others dictate her and continues to talk over her and talk over her and talk over her, right?
Yeah. And eventually she just kind of says, "I've had enough of this. I don't think I can trust you, and you need to go." And
Yep.
he kind of stops talking at that point, finally. But then he gets into the limo. He walks out, and they grab his bag and take him away.
Yep.
And man, that might be the most bitter exit interview in a limo I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of something that even came close, and I couldn't come up with anything.
I can only think of Chad on BIP where he's that way about Chris Harrison. That's about
Yeah,
as close as it could ever be.
yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any others, because like
Nope.
even like Jamie didn't really get too salty, but
Jamie didn't
like
really care, you know.
yeah, that's true. I think Jamie didn't care, but I think Martin's ego was pretty bruised.
I think he thought his looks were getting him to a place that his personality didn't matter, and then
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like that interview was everything but that bitch. You know what I mean? Like I feel
Basically,
like
you felt like he was barely stopping himself from dropping that, and yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but so he's booted. No more Martin.
Woo!
I'm
Let's
somewhat,
go. Good job, Michelle.
I'm somewhat sad, just because we liked him, and it, you know,
Yeah.
petered out, and feels like when you're like, ah, I can't believe I liked that thing that was a mistake.
He
Like
ran
like
his charm on us. Damn it.
yeah, like it's like when you make a bad investment and it goes under, you're like, ah, dang it, you know.
I like the flashy
Oh
one with the racing stripes. You know.
yeah. But now it's group rose time. Nate gets the group rose, which kind of surprised me, because
Really?
I didn't think his game was great. Because like usually she takes how the day goes, and again he kind of stunk it up at most of the farm activities.
Yeah.
But I think maybe him talking about his dad and just how much hometowns means to him maybe got him that. I probably came down to him and Joe, because I felt the two of them were very, very safe, and
I
so
I think
yeah.
because he said I'm falling for you, and I
Yeah.
don't know, has Joe said that yet?
No,
I
but
don't
I
think
think
so.
again that Joe's quiet.
Totally.
It makes he thinks a lot about his words before he says them. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but I think that Nate coming out and being like, "Hey, girl, you think I'm one of the front runners and I'm falling for you?" That's her like, "No, no, no.
Mhm.
You're going to the fucking hometown week." You know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And
yeah.
so I'll be excited to see him in Austin. I'm just bummed that they're not taking her up to Winnipeg,
I was going
because
to say, is it going to be Austin
uh,
or Winnipeg? Probably
it,
Austin.
they are not spending 2 weeks border quarantining to go to Winnipeg of all
Ah,
places.
lovely. Okay, fair
Like
enough.
I'm not trying to poo-poo Winnipeg here. It's just a reality. It's like
Austin's a pretty cool place. I would probably pick it
never
also.
been, but I hear it's a pretty wicked spot. So
Yep, yep.
seems like a real trendy, fun, almost like a bigger, fancier Portland in a way
It is.
or
Yeah, it's very
something. Yeah,
Seattle. Well, people have called it like a Seattle in Texas,
I've
where
heard
it's
that it's
like,
very also left-leaning
yeah.
for
I mean,
Texas, which
for
makes
Texas, it's still very, very right leaning, but you know what I mean. But
maybe a bit more purple than blue. But
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So
But now we come to our Brandon date, and I
we
have
do
written down here, what was he doing all day while they were on the farm? Like, because
chilling.
Clayton got eliminated, so there's no one else back at the hotel.
I would have
Like
loved
usually
a
there's at
like.
least someone back at the hotel so you can like sit there and play checkers or whatever, but
Hopefully, he
no.
was getting a spa treatment or something. I
Yeah,
don't
let's
know.
hope he was doing that. Keeping his face nice and baby soft. But I just have it written down. It is adorable how excited he is. Like I
Yes.
said it a few weeks or last week, like there was like 4 or 5 guys that were head over heels for her, which is pretty crazy. Usually, you don't feel that there's 4 or 5 guys that are definitely 100%, head over heels going into the deep end here, but she has them, and Brandon is
Yep.
absolutely one of those guys.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know.
Chemistry up the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I actually have written down here her jeans and crop top look on this date might be the
Ah.
best she's looked in my opinion. Like
Now,
I was like, wow,
now that you say it, I
wow.
have to pull up the Michelle Brandon picture. My apologies.
Because I thought that outfit was unbelievable.
So I don't have the exact because they didn't have any pictures of their date, but I at least have
They
a picture of the two of them.
the
You
official
know,
ones don't come out for days after they tweet
sons
out
of
like one a
bitches.
day. I
They
know.
hook Nick Vile up with early tapes and they fuck the rest of us. God damn it. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry, not to cut you
but
off.
yeah, no, I thought she looked like it's jeans and a shirt, and
Yeah.
I'm like 10-10.
Oh
Like,
yeah. No, she
yeah.
pulls off casual
Oh,
extremely, extremely
so
well.
well.
Yep.
But he gets a really good one-on-one date. Like this is a one-on-one date for a contender.
Absolutely.
And he was one of my episode 0 picks. So
Get
I'm
it,
feeling
buddy.
pretty confident in him right now
Hmm.
cuz they get to go to her favorite ice cream shop. And that's not a first date move, you
No,
know?
no.
That's a oh, you're coming back to meet the parents or see my town for the first time. You're not dating in the same town you used to live in. Oh, I got to take you to my favorite milkshake shack or my favorite burger place. And she takes him there and she says, like, this place was special. It's closed in the winter. It's only open in the summer. You'll wait all winter till the snow is gone and the sun is out to go to this place. And she's filming too, so she hasn't really been there in a while either.
No. I bet she was
And he gets to
stoked.
go there.
Yeah.
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 Thought that was awesome. They get mint chocolate chip ice cream for her, and his looks like some kind of chocolate chip cookie dough. I couldn't
Yeah.
quite tell.
Yeah, it was definitely a chocolate chip variation. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're both on board with chocolate chip. And those are some big scoops too, man.
I
Like,
was like, man, I'm a scoop in a cup kind of guy. I don't really like the cone.
I don't
Uh,
know. I'm a
but
cone
it
guy.
was so big on there. I'm like, I'm eating that cone. There is no possible way I'm finishing that before it is just melting down my arm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you notice then they get more ice cream. They start eating ice cream out of a cup too, or like something out of a cup. It's like, how
Oh
much
yeah.
can these people get?
Hey man, they got to have the shots. Okay.
Yeah,
Different
uh,
colored ice creams. You know.
yeah. Oh, um, Kat, I applied for the show, but they didn't take me. We were talking about it off the hop, so when you get
Yes.
back to re-releasing the episode, the first 5 minutes we talk about it.
Yep. Yep. Adam has tried. If it's
I have
if
tried.
Tasha comes back, it's on.
Yeah. Um, but I just have now written down here like they're just walking around, or no, this is back when they're in the car and they're driving
Hmm.
to go see her childhood home. Dude is in love.
Oh
Like,
yeah, enamored.
like 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 I said, like head over heels. Like put him in a room with 1,000 beautiful women, and he wouldn't see anybody but Michelle.
Absolutely.
Like that's how head over heels he is, and it makes it hard not to root for him because he's so committed and into it. And
Yes.
so he gets to go see Michelle's childhood home, which again, that's not something you don't do with someone you don't really like. That's a
No.
contender date
Well,
because
Oh,
I was
sorry.
gonna say you run the risk of meeting the parents and just that entire thing, you know, like
Yeah, the fact that she would even risk potentially them coming home and seeing him and meeting him is
I think
like,
that might have been staged,
of
but
course. But you know what I mean? But the fact that
yes,
she would even take him there to begin with is like such a
she
comfort zone
consider it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
that's a like I'd even say like because I think we had him top four
Yes.
last
Yeah. We
episode.
had him in the second tier.
Yeah, and but I think this clearly puts him up in tier one with
Yeah.
Joe
I think you're
and
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Brandon
because
might have a shot at this thing.
I think he's close, man. He's up there.
Yep.
Um, so they go and they walk in and they're looking at kind of her pictures as you know she was growing up and stuff, and like they have her prom picture or her grad picture or whatever it was,
Yeah.
senior year photo. She hasn't aged a day.
No.
She looks
No.
exactly the same.
10 years have been very good to her.
I mean, she gets that Bachelorette glow up, you know, that workout plan, which is doing wonders for her. But
Yep.
still, I mean, at the same time, she hasn't aged a day,
Yeah.
like,
No, no.
which is
Absolutely.
bananas.
I had a
So,
question to you about this part.
oh yeah,
Do your parents keep pictures up in their house, like on the walls of you in your childhood? Because like my
um,
parents never did when I was, I mean, a little bit when I was growing up, but like as soon as I left, it was like no, 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 no.
not as many as Michelle's family has up. We have a couple family photos from say different family trips up in the entry hall. There's like a 4 picture collage thing, and it's
Yeah.
all from a different family trip. And then when you go into like the living room, um, there's my grad photo, my sister's grad photo, my dad's grad photo from getting his master's back in the day, like all of our like our post secondary photos. But
Yeah.
there's not like a random picture of me at 16 or a picture of me at 10. There's a couple of those on the fridge,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
um,
That's fair.
but we don't have tons of them. My parents kind of have like decorate very simply too,
Yeah.
you know. So
I was just curious more than anything because like my
yeah.
parents don't do that. Like they have like the like what the digital photo frame that just cycles through
Oh,
all
okay.
the photos, but like other than that, they don't keep like stuff up on their walls. So
I definitely have friends whose parents are huge photo people.
oh
My
yeah,
one buddy, when I go over his folks' place, we've gone over there for like dinner before and or like a backyard fire and stuff because they live way out of town, so it's nice to get out there sometimes. And
nice.
you walk through the house and it's like, is there a blank space on the wall? Let's find a photograph and put a picture in it.
Yeah,
And it's really cool because you get to see like you know photos and it's sometimes it's crazy how like someone is 5 years old and you're like yes you look exactly the same even though you don't but it's just like where you know you look
yeah,
younger pictures of me and I look similar but like my face shape has changed and stuff so
yeah. Me too.
uh,
Me too. It's great though. It's great.
it is
Yeah.
so anyway uh I also commented how clean that house is like they brought in the pro cleaning
Oh
staff on
yeah.
brand.
Come on.
It looked like a hotel that's how clean it was
Yep. The
like
Bachelor cleaning
unbelievable.
crew came through. You know.
And then they hop into the hot tub in the back, which I thought was kind of weird because like it looked like a pretty warm summer day to hop in the hot tub. I'd be like, I might start sweating if I'm doing that.
Yeah.
But
Not only that, I had a comment about him wearing her dad's trunks.
yeah, because he wasn't prepared for that.
Uh, all I can think is like how horrible it would be to pop a boner in her dad's shorts. It would just be the grossest, weirdest thing of my whole life. Cause like you're grinding up on the girl, making out with her in a hot tub in
That's
her
true.
dad's shorts, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Sweller.
Hey, Smaller. But yeah,
Yeah, because
that was my one thought. I'm like,
they
say
are
the Pledge of
making out.
Allegiance. I'm not getting a boner in these. No.
Yeah, they're doing their horny kissing, like they're making out, like hot and heavy. So, then you know her parents do come home, and I thought the way they framed it was hilarious. Like they walk past like 6 cameras and don't notice them, and go, "Oh, you guys are here!" Like
Shock.
like those lame TikToks, you know, where it's like
Oh
somehow the
God.
person walks to the door and doesn't see there's 3 cameras and 7 lights on, and go, "Oh my gosh!" It's like really you didn't know anything was going on,
Come on.
but yeah. So the parents come home, and while they catch him while they're making out, like mid, like she's like on his lap, and they are going at it, ma, kissing, kissing,
Yep. Yep.
and and then go, oh, and he immediately like doesn't push her off, but is like, oh God, like freaks out. He's like, like you're 15 years old and your
Oh yeah.
girlfriend's dad just walked downstairs and you guys were kissing on the couch. Like exact reaction. And then he stands up and he didn't have a boner because they didn't blur
Ble-
out his shorts.
Bless him, you know.
Yeah, he kept it under cool.
Ugh.
Maybe he was like getting there, and mom and dad walking in just right down.
Yep, yep.
But
Midnight to 6. Yep. Uh-huh.
yeah, but then they he gets out, they towel off, they get redressed, and they have like a really nice conversation just in the backyard. And
Their
her
backyard,
parents,
by the way,
yeah,
I want their backyard. Like,
it's a great looking backyard.
Yeah.
Looks like the perfect backyard to have like a barbecue and 8 friends over at.
I'd spend most of my time in there, like living outside if I were at their house, except for the fact it's Minnesota.
Yeah, I get the impression her parents probably spend most of their summer days in that backyard. Like it's so
Awesome.
well manicured and laid out.
Yeah.
Like my parents do a very similar thing where my dad takes great care of his backyard, and I'll go to the house in the summer, knock on the door. All right, he's probably in the backyard. And I go, and sure enough, he's just sitting out there by the flowers or by the fire pit or the barbecue, whatever. Just out in the backyard, like yeah.
Love it. Sorry to jump on you there, but
no, it's all good. And I just keep talking sometimes, so
you're good.
But I just have her folks seem lovely. Like they seem like just great people.
Amazing.
Like super friendly, super just welcoming. Like again, you walk in on this guy making out with your daughter all hot and heavy. They don't make it awkward. The dad's not trying to intimidate him or even weird him out or nothing.
Nope.
You're just like, all right, hop inside and let's have a chat, Plus, he's killing his first impression when they're sitting down on that like bench setup they have.
Yeah,
like he's killing that first impression.
All the right answers, man.
Yeah,
like,
he's again.
Well, I feel like
draining threes from half court. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and they ask a couple of questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the first one his mom asks is like, "Why Michelle?" kind of thing, right? And he's like, well, she's special and she's amazing, and clearly she gets it from you guys, right? And at the time I was like, that's kind of a kiss-ass answer, but I you can tell it's actually genuine with him.
He's a corny guy.
Absolutely.
But he's like a genuine corny guy.
Yep. But yeah, I thought the whole thing was really sweet. It's clear that the 4 of them could hang out back there with, for hours and hours and just enjoy their time. Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing,
And he also talks about how much he can just trust Michelle. He knows he can just trust her, and then
yep.
I always think it's a really good thing when you can compliment somebody without ever bringing up their appearance.
That's a big thing that I've learned a lot with Twitch streamers. Actually, is like a lot of like male Twitch streamers. People will come in and they'll be like, "Oh, you're so chill. You're so cool. You're so funny," and female Twitch streamers, people come in and they're like, "Here's how you look," and it's just like, come on.
Where's your OnlyFans link? Why don't you have an OnlyFans?
Think a little to be like, and I think it was Cutie Cinderella. Somebody asked her about her appearance, and she's like a very beautiful gal, of course, and she's like, "Stop commenting about my appearance and women's appearance. Talk about us."
That video. Did it go kind of viral?
I think it probably did, but it was just
I think I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're totally true though. It's nice that he can compliment her in a real way, and it's not just like, well, she's beautiful. Yeah. It's like, no,
and that's something that like not that I'm saying it in a fake way, but if I'm talking to a girl and she happens to ask something like I'll be like, don't say her appearance. She already knows she already knows that I think she's gorgeous.
You're on a date. Of course you think the person looks good.
I'll be like, well, I like the way you talk about your career and you're funny and I'm not trying to say this to sound fake, but those are compliments that mean a lot more to people. And when you're when you're discussing with parents, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't just be like, yeah, like genetically your daughter's a 10 out of 10. Look at her, she won the lottery. It's no, like she's an awesome person.
Totally.
That's how you make good compliments. So.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. But now we move on to the evening part of the night.
Well, I was gonna before you get to, I think you skipped over one big thing.
Oh, did I?
Which is Brandon asking mom and dad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
By all means.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh. I'll take it.
Yes.
Brandon's my guy. So
Yeah.
I had that written here. I must have just glanced over. That's my bad.
All good.
He asked Michelle very politely, like, "Hey, can I just speak with your parents, by ourselves for a second?" She gets up and says, "Yeah, for sure." And she's a little nervous, but and he has the "May I have your blessing to marry your daughter" speech because, like I said, Brandon's in love.
Oh
Like he
yeah.
might not say he's in love. They're gonna. I can see myself falling in love. It's like no, he's in love. Like,
Yep. Yep.
and they both are on board. They're like, no, if she chooses you, which is something I thought was key too. It wasn't
Yep.
them taking the decision away from her. They're like, if she chooses you, then by all means, like absolutely, by all means, you can. If you're gonna make her happy, then that's what we want. So
Yep.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, like wholesome, just a nice wholesome episode. I didn't think about my shitty hockey team the entire time. It was great.
Perfect. Good
And
distraction.
then we move on to the evening,
Yeah.
and pretty basic evening date, honestly. Nothing too crazy. They talk a bit about hometowns. He shares kind of like you get to meet. I think it's his mom and his brother. Um, but unfortunately, his grandpa has passed away, and his grandpa was really important to him growing up. So that's kind of
Yep.
unfortunate. But they have a nice little chat.
Can I
Nothing super
one thing that I thought
groundbreaking,
here,
but
were they having dinner in a castle
I
or
couldn't figure it out.
it was like there was like a draw gate when they
I
came
couldn't.
in,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, man, they're in somewhere like medieval. This is
I
great.
had I had no idea what to make of that location. I couldn't piece it together.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that
Um,
was cool at least.
yeah, it was. It was. I should have written something down, but I just again couldn't make it out. So,
Fair enough.
but yeah, a nice conversation. It's also nice to hear a conversation where it's just like, well, yeah, my gramps passed away, but because usually you're so used to these guys pouring out some big trauma,
Ooh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and it's nice that he's just like, mostly normal, you know.
I'm from Portland. Everybody's kind of
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Just a nice break from just the trauma bonding that you
I
get on these
didn't
shows.
need to cry again. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he does something really sweet though, where before he came on the show, his mom gave him a little bracelet,
Hmm.
and he gives it to Michelle, saying like, "This bracelet's for you. My mom gave this to me. She wants me to do what I think's best with it. If I'm truly falling for somebody, then give it to them as like a bond thing, a connection thing." And she's like, "Wow!" Like she's taken aback by it, thinks it's such a sweet gesture,
Yep.
and then they make out. And again, like compare her chemistry on this date with Brandon to Clayton's earlier in the episode,
Night and
and
day.
it couldn't be more different.
Yep.
Like like you're almost at honeymoon chemistry with these two, like they're really wrapped up in it, and they only ever see each other when they're looking at each other. And with Clayton, it was like, yeah, like date two chemistry, you
I
know.
feel like, and I compare this to the Joe and the Nate because again they're the top tier.
Yeah,
I feel like Nate, she's the most sexually attracted to.
yeah,
Joe, she's the most relationshiply attracted to,
yeah,
and Brandon, she's attracted to the most as a person. Like,
yeah.
I feel
That's
like
fair.
Joe's relationship with her is kind of like her parents' relationship, which is quiet guy,
Yeah,
very confident. Clearly, they both are attracted to each other, but Brandon's more like her, right? Like they're more
yeah.
like similar, where they're so in, and
Similar
there's
energy level.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And with Joe too, the other thing I think that works with Joe, just to go back there really quick, is
mhm.
I think Joe's the kind of guy that she would always have wanted to date her whole life,
Right,
and getting the chance to. And then the fact that again, it's not just that he's basketball Joe, like the coolest basketball player
Minnesota
in high
Miracle
school.
Man.
Yeah, it's also that he has those traits too, which I think really, plays to his favor.
Yeah,
So
totally, totally.
obviously, Brandon gets his rose tonight, tells her that he's falling for her, and she says something pretty key here, which is about as committal as you're ever going to get. She says that she can see herself falling for him too, which is about as close as you're ever going to get to anything before
Absolutely.
basically the proposal episode.
And yeah, I think she even yeah, she said she could fall in love with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Yeah. So that's pretty much the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Michelle, I should say it cuts to the guys afterwards. They're chilling in the
Mhm.
hotel, right? And Caitlin and Tasha roll up, and they're all ready to get their cocktail party on. I think some of the guys are talking about how they need their time, yada yada
Yeah,
yada.
it's just the normal stuff they
Mm-hmm.
always talk about, you know. Olu
And
mentions that he hasn't had his a one-on-one yet, so
yep,
he really wants to have time at the cocktail party, you know.
yep.
But
But
yeah,
sure
Caitlin
enough,
and Tasha dropped the bomb.
yeah, she's canceled the cocktail party. She knows what she wants, and I've noticed this. I think Nick Vile did it a couple times on his season. Katie definitely did it a couple of times, which I don't want to give her credit for anything. But Michelle, I think this is a power and good move. The deeper you get into these, because this is like not the last cocktail party, but like one of the last
It
ones
is
where there's like undecided things going on.
I guess I think it's pretty close to the last one
It,
because I
it
mean
probably is.
you do hometowns and they might get I mean they get them all back together after hometowns so there might be something
I think
then
you're
but
right
like
though. Yeah.
it's kind of it's effectively kind of the final real cocktail party of the season
Yeah.
so
She just
but
sent home Clayton that she is kind of meh about and
mhm,
kept somebody she's a couple of guys right between the group
yeah
and other one. But
Brandon and Nate got roses yeah
yeah, so
yeah
not a shocker.
so no, and I also think it's good too because if she made up her mind, then your mind's made up. Like, don't give yourself the chance to second guess yourself because someone else says something amazing and then you start doubting. If you know what you know, and then just leave it at that. Don't get when you're especially when you're down to four guys. It's not like she's got 20 dudes still and she needs to figure out some of the start filtering through them. But so
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So cut straight to the rose ceremony, right?
Mhm. And so Clayton and Martin have already gone home. So we're only getting down to four guys out of
Mm-hmm.
eight. So there's six left. So there's only two roses on display. Two roses are handed out. So it's like that's kind of intimidating. I felt for the guys when they walked in there. Like I think Joe was the most confident by far because I think
Well,
we just know. You just know,
we
right?
we totally knew for sure.
But
Um,
for Rodney, Rick, and Olu,
yeah.
as much as we love Rodney, you don't quite know because again, their energy is a bit different. There's a lot more of a friendship, but also romance going on there. Rick is like a very intense romantic connection with her.
Yes, but I think it's one way. Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna get to that in a second.
Sorry.
No worries. It's just how we talk about the show. We get there, and
Yeah.
then Olu kind of has that big brother protectorish energy. So they all
Yeah.
kind of have a bit of a different vibe. So Joe gets the rose, as we mentioned.
Well, before we jump into the roses,
Oh,
we need to talk dresses.
oh, how did I forget this?
So I pulled it
Jeepers,
up on
Adam,
the
come
screen
on now.
here. We have her dress. I was able to get a picture of the dress for the week. It's
Nice.
a red number, all the way down to her shoes, full length.
Hmm.
Um,
How
do
did
you
I
want to give
forget
your reaction first? I got the picture up there for you.
six?
Yeah,
Six roses.
there was nothing flashy to it. A little bit sparkly, but like yeah, like doesn't show like her features are best like in something sleek, and this is a little more like yeah, just too much. Not just not much
It
to
just
it.
didn't do anything for me. Like I saw her in it, and I had no reaction.
Yeah,
And
no,
like I thought the color looked good with her skin, and then her lipstick. I thought it actually was a very nice
I
like
wrote that note
mix.
down. You're a smart man.
But overall, like I'm sure there's other red dresses in this color you could put her in that would absolutely floor me. And this
Absolutely.
wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
I just have six, not crazy. I wasn't crazy about the pattern, and I
No.
have a note. I'm pretty sure I'm just a slave to leg too.
I definitely think so. I was gonna make that comment. I put 7 out of 10. It's 7. I think was being generous. I think I just kind of generically gave it a I don't care number. It
Yeah,
probably should have been a 5 or a 6, honestly, but nothing about it pissed me off. I guess, and to your point, the color combo was good.
yeah. She didn't look bad in it, so I
No,
couldn't go
no, of
really
course
like
not.
five. But like, yeah, if it maybe if she didn't have the red lipstick on to go with the dress, I might have and I didn't get, it didn't kind of mix all that well. I would have said maybe even a 5 then, but
Yeah.
I gave it kind of everything starts at a 5 for me, and then it's like how many points up does it get?
The dress
So
would have to be pretty bad for us to give it a 4.
yeah, there
Yeah.
was one dress I remember. I think Hannah Brown wore on her season, and
Oof.
it looked like a terrible swimsuit got cut into a dress somehow. It was just like, ooh,
Pageant people, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway,
so
the
I can't believe I
back to the
skipped over that.
roses.
Back to the roses. So Joe gets his rose, and I
Shock.
think not a shock. I know you're being sarcastic,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you could tell the other three guys were kind of nervous, but Joe just maybe it's just his demeanor again, just that cool confidence.
Yeah.
He just stood there, and it's like he knew, like he must have just known, right?
Oh yeah.
And then
100%.
it comes down to Rick, Olu, and Rodney, and our boy Rodney comes through.
I was
Oh
like,
my!
literally, I wrote down as it was happening, I'm like, come on, Rodney, come on, Rodney, come on, Rodney.
Oh
And
man!
I put, fuck yes, motherfucker.
Oh, 'cause I thought him and Rick were really close, right?
They were probably like
And
super close in her mind. Yeah.
yeah, and I just like I cheered when she
Oh,
picked
yeah.
Rodney. Yes, I'd like get him jumping, you know.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
I
I
yelled
was
from I was
happy.
watching it in my computer room while Morgan was
Yeah.
in the other room, and I stamped on the desk and I was like, "Fuck yes!"
That's great. Yeah, no,
So,
I'm so happy. We get to meet Rodney's family next week, which is I
oh,
can't wait to meet them if they're even half as cool as he is. Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, which leaves Rick and Olu going home. What do you think about that?
Both amazing gentlemen in their own right. Honestly,
Yeah,
I put Ricky Boy, Jim Halpert is gone, and then Olu's just a top shelf dude. So
he is.
yeah.
I thought Olu and hers goodbye was like just really. I just wrote they have a great goodbye together.
Yep.
Like, because there's no bitterness. Like like you can tell he's hurt, but again, his thoughts and his care are about what's best for Michelle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's just great. Rick's I thought was weird because ever since you pointed out, he does that like
Hello,
super
Adam.
soft,
Hi.
just a super soft whisper right into the. And I'm just like, oh, I can't unhear it now. It's so creepy. Like,
Well, what I
I
wrote
don't even
down
know if
was,
my mic picked that up, but jeepers.
yep, it did. It did.
Uh,
I put, keep it classy and keep it creepy, Mr. Rick. You'll find your Pam.
yeah, he will. I'm sure he's gonna go back home and he'll be snatched up. And
Yep.
I don't expect him to make it to paradise. He seems a bit too intense and a bit too
Mm, I
maybe
don't
where
know
he
though,
can go
because
find
those
something.
are the kind of people that go to paradise and they're like
That's
locked
true.
in on one or two girls. And they're like, if I don't
Yeah,
hit that, I hit the bricks. So I don't know.
yeah, the kind of guy who shows up and he's already scouted the last 6 seasons and is like, okay, I'm here to see these three girls. Where are they?
Well, do you remember who was the guy that was obsessed with? Was it Hannah G or whatever?
Uh,
Is it?
there's
I forget his
Dylan.
Dylan. He came on
Yeah,
there like, I'm here for her and her alone.
yeah.
Yeah, obsessed
Which
even.
yeah, I have my whatever. I don't care if that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. I
Yep.
didn't really care for Dylan and Hannah, but whatever.
No, I didn't either.
I just thought
But
they were boring.
yep, yep.
So, but
So yeah,
yeah, that brings us into hometowns, man.
yep. They give the preview, right? We see Michelle and Rodney in an apple orchard. Hell yeah.
I have that written down. I
Yep.
have Rodney and Joe were paying attention because Rodney takes her to an apple orchard, and Joe sets up like a prom for her.
Yep. Yep.
So, two things she mentioned in that poem that Martin wasn't so enthused about.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
Brandon takes her to a Portland skate park. Very stereotypical.
I thought that was going to be in this episode. I actually had written down, "Hey, where's the skateboarding?" I was like, "Did they cut part of the date out?" But
Yep.
then it's like, it's next week on Hometowns." Okay.
Yep. And then Nate on a lake somewhere. I'm imagining there's a
Yeah,
big lake near Austin somewhere. Cool.
I heard there is. Wasn't there like a big old Trump rally and then a whole bunch of boats sank or
I'm
something like that?
sure there is. Yes.
Because
I'm
they went
sure.
out on like a stormy day and then
Oh
actually
God.
like all these rich people had their like fancy like mini yachts like sink.
I think there's like a man-made lake or something near Austin.
Oh, okay. I know
Yeah.
they have a canal too. They're like a floating canal,
Maybe
but
that's what it is. Yeah, for
who knows?
sure.
Who
For
knows?
sure.
Yeah.
And then all the family drama seems to be coming up soon too.
Well, that's what I have written down. I said no villains left. Whose family's gonna be the bad guy?
Oh, well, do you remember Katie's season that her aunt
Oh, what was her aunt's name?
Aunt no. Was it Aunt Lindsay?
Oh, let me
Yeah, we
hang
we
on.
need to I can't remember.
Yes, Aunt Lindsay.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
Lindsay. I'm like they got to have some of that to just spark it up a little bit, you know?
Or freaking Barb from
Oh
Hannah
yeah, Barb.
Peter. Yeah, someone's aunt or mom or uncle or grandma is gonna come out of the woodworks as the new villain because
It's
we've
got to have
got
it.
four awesome dudes.
Great humans. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I look at some conspiracy theory things. I think because of how they edited it on some of the like full season previews,
hmm
they tried to edit it and make it look like Nate was maybe a little bit fake at some point. But
well,
both of the people that have called him out so far are gone and were clearly crazy. So
I've got two notes written here
yeah,
actually about missing footage because in one of the previews we saw Clayton on rollerblades.
ah,
Do you remember that?
I think so.
And we saw a note. I thought that was going to be his one-on-one date, and maybe they cut it. I don't know, but
Maybe.
we never saw that. And so I was like, I had the horrible thought. I was like, does Clayton worm his way back into this?
Oh, don't say that.
I
No
hope not.
way. No way.
There's no way he can't.
She sent Rick home, and their relationship is way above Clayton.
Yeah, and she's the kind of girl where, like, we saw when Chris tried to worm his way into. She was like, "No, like, I'm get out of here."
Yep.
So if he didn't respect her decision, and when Martin kind of, she has no time for those kinds of people. So,
Love her.
but then the other missing footage is that clip we saw a billion times in the previews, and we never got to see in a single episode. Clayton sitting there across from what looked like Nate, going, "You're an actor.
That's
You
what
come
I'm
on a
saying.
reality show."
Yep.
And then you have Nate go, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. And it could just be a bad edit, but I feel like I don't know. That's the only unease I get with any of these four guys is Nate. Like Joe, I think I know who he is. Brandon, I think we know who he is. Rodney is the best human on the planet, and then Nate, I don't know. He's really good looking. He's been getting the star treatment from Michelle the whole time.
He's super chill.
So I could see it going the drama route of like Nate, like Michelle chooses Nate, and Nate's all of a sudden like, I don't know if I'm that into it, or something of that effect.
Yeah, I could also kind of see it where Nate talked about how his dad
That could have
isn't
been his
super,
dad.
and maybe his dad is the guy that we see in the episode say something because the way they cut between things, I have no idea whose parents is who, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and they're all people of color at this point
Yeah,
too. So I
yeah.
mean, it could be yeah. Parents could be anything. Yeah,
Tough to kind of tell when you don't really know them, and you can't quite. It's not as easy as when you're like, oh, there's two white guys and two black guys, so you saw the one black guy, older black guy talking. You're like, well, that's one of these two guys' dad, most likely.
right.
But
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
with
But
four of them, you can't line it up.
I have
But
to say, pretty cool though that we now have a Final Four and a Bachelorette that are all people of color.
yeah,
Good job,
neat.
First of all, good job, Michelle, because these guys seem to be the best four guys
They're
left.
four wicked dudes. Yeah,
And second of all, good job casting.
yeah.
They did a
No,
good
they
job
found
of
some
casting.
gems, and there was something I wondered about, which was, when they're having those sit downs as a group, there was almost no drama between the guys after Martin left.
No, no, they love each
And
other. They're bros.
yeah, and normally production's trying to poke and prod, maybe trying to pit Joe against Nate or Brandon against Joe or something, trying to get I got a rose, so I feel real good, and then some guy goes to his private camera thing, is like, I can't believe he's talking about getting a rose,
Yeah,
but none of that, gave him nothing. So
I think after Katie's season, they needed to your point, very
cleansing,
wholesome season
yeah,
and just a good edit for everyone.
yeah, that's
So
totally fair.
yeah,
So
so cool. Well,
yeah,
last little bit, the little funny thing for Clayton, right? Kind of
more of his
stupid.
bachelor, yeah,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
of his bachelor push. He paints Jaylene's nails, which is one of Michelle's students, and she kind of says he's doing a shit job, and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna paint your nails instead."
Yeah, she's like, stop fucking my nails up. I'm gonna fuck yours up.
Yeah, and I actually think he plays it pretty well here. He gets red, and yeah, again, like he's pretty good with kids. I almost wonder if, because he was a college football player, I forget where he played, but I know that a
It's like
lot, like not
Missouri or
you,
something.
something. And
Yeah.
I bet you they did tons of stuff going to school and outreach and kids coming to football class for the day
Oh
and stuff.
yeah.
So he seems so natural around him that it just made me think that he's probably so used to that. Because I know that colleges and, uh, minor sports teams and all those things, they do that kind of stuff a lot. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But it was good. I think that was a overall great episode.
Hmm.
I've never been as enthused at a rose ceremony as I was when she picked Rodney. That's probably
Yeah.
my highlight of the season is that little moment there.
I'm
But
trying to think the last time I rooted for somebody so hard.
it's been a while.
God, man, I'm trying to think back through each and every season,
Yeah.
and I'm coming up blank.
And
Like,
while I think he's probably the second tier to the other three guys' first tier, watch him
yeah,
just do it. You know what?
that's what I
Watch
want
him
so
do
bad.
it. Come on.
Push it through. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, because I bet you a lot of people would have had Rodney as a cut 3 weeks ago.
I thought he was
Yeah,
going to get cut last week,
yeah, I was a
potentially.
little, yeah, I could have seen that last week. Yeah,
But I
that's
think there
fair.
was two very obvious guys that went last week, right?
Yeah,
And then a couple of guys that got cut mid episode here that are like, oh, I would have thought those guys maybe like I would have thought Clayton and Martin maybe had a chance above Rodney before this
mm,
episode, but
yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
after it was like obvious, right?
Well, you could tell during Clayton's one-on-one, it wasn't going as
No
good
vibes.
as, yeah, no vibes. And then Martin just had to open his mouth. So,
He just had to stay quiet and stay pretty. You know what I mean?
pretty much, yeah. But that's the episode. So we're getting down
Yeah,
to hometowns, fantasy suites, and then the final episode.
probably men tell
Or,
all, then the final episode.
yeah, hopefully we get a men's tell-all because I need more Peter versus Will, man.
We got
Like,
this. More
yeah.
slice talk. I like it.
Yeah, I want that drama. I want it so bad. I need those guys back. And then I'm curious. I almost want to. I don't know if they have someone who's as good as an interviewer as Chris Harrison was now,
It
but I
depends.
kind of wouldn't mind seeing them put like Olu and say Jimmy on the bench together,
Yeah.
or
Oh, they will.
that kind of a thing where like they would sometimes do, because I'd kind of like to see, I just want to see more. That's all. I like these guys and I just want to see more of them. So
I agree. I agree.
I like the most of them. So maybe
Well,
we get Chris G back to do some slam poetry.
absolutely, absolutely. Make Canada proud. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, thanks again, everybody, for hanging out the whole episode. Everybody in
Yes.
chat, we appreciate you very, very much. Sweller and
Yeah.
Kat hanging all this time.
Yeah.
Adam, it's another good one, bud. Another
Beautiful
banger.
lurkers, everybody who came and went. Appreciate all of you
Yeah, for sure.
for hour 46, man. That's
Yeah,
probably the longest episode.
we got him. We got him. But we'll be back next week. Episode will be up on YouTube in probably an hour or two. I'll get everything all set there. But we'll be back again next week, 6 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays. And I don't think the episodes change anything with the holidays next week.